Hello everyone, welcome back to The View from the Shed with me, Shed Man, for more than just a podcast, and I'm back in my shed. First of all, after last week, I'd like to thank all the people that took time to comment on the YouTube and text me. All good, some bad. Especially I'd like to thank my friends for the many lookalike pics that I was sent after my appearance with a flat cap and glasses. Which I've ditched obviously this week. I decided to have my barnet cut by the missus. I did ask for a cut and blow, but apparently I don't have enough money for a blow, so it was the cut only. But hey ho, that's what happens when you go to the missus for an haircut. After last week, I will say that my three favourite lookalikes that I was sent were in descending order was Clive Dunn as Grandad, Benny Hill, I think Fred Scuttle, even though it's a pick-up, someone sent me a Benny Hill with a West Ham scarf on. But my favourite was sent to me was apparently I looked like Ronnie Barker as cross-eyed Clarence. But moving on, one comment last week that was left on the YouTube channel came from a video boy. I don't know if he's a sailor or he's a nautical person, but that's the name that he went under. And he had some interesting comments to make in regards my negativity against the ownership and everything else. So I'll share his comment here and I'll have a little answer back at him. As you can see, he loves his matchday experience, that him and his pals have a great laugh before and after games, as do me and my friends. Well, I'm not sure we enjoy it, we don't love the matchday experience, but we do like to have a laugh. And you know, perhaps that's the alco, I don't know, but it takes the sting out a lot of being in Stratford for me. And he says that they know how to get in and out of the area without the queues. Guess what? So do I. My video last week was obviously highlighting what a lot of people complain about, not necessarily what I do. He says I complain about not being in Westfields. I didn't complain because I don't use Westfields. I just pointed out that Westfields don't like fans going in there, that many other fans, which is a true fact. It's not a lie. They barrier it off and make you go round the other way. He then says that West Ham's not the same. Nothing is. Everything changes, rarely for the better. And the world is constantly moving forward. And, you know, as we're all getting older, we can't expect things to remain the same. I fully agree with what he said there. Not got a problem whatsoever. You know, progress happens all around. The East End has changed totally from the East End that I grew up in to what it is now. Even I've moved out and moved on. So, you know, I fully understand where he's coming from. Even though he says let it go. You know, when he says let it go, in a way, I've let the move go. It has gone. We ain't going back. But doesn't stop me pointing out to those, as the video is aimed at, Simon Jordan and Jim White, the reasons why West Ham fans, even though we're doing so well this season, are still bitter towards the owners and want them to go. He then, you know, lists who do I think we should buy the club. You know, he trots out the usual thing that I won't say the pro ball fans will do, but you know, oligarchs, foreign criminals, despot American finers. You know, he's even gone with the energy ball drink that would change our name and the colours. Of course, what people there never do is point out the good owners. They never go, "Oh, do you want an owner like the Leicester City?" You know, or to some point even the Liverpool, the Fenway Group, who have come on. They've rebuilt past, you know, some of the stands at Anfield. They've invested in the club. They are American. I don't know if they're finances. I'm guessing that they are, but they've also, you know, tried to protect in a way the history of Liverpool. He then finishes. It's all very well whining. He then points out he's obviously followed me for a while because I've been moaning for well over a decade now. Which, you know, 2010 was when they bought the club, and I started whining, as he says, and moaning. He says, but I don't offer a single solution. And in a way, I get what he's saying. It's easy to turn around and say to you, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But then surely, I suppose we could come up with what is the future, what can be done to change it. Well, for me, but this is me personally speaking. I'm sure that a lot of people are different. There is one way that the owners could perhaps salvage something out of their ownership, but that would involve firstly getting rid of Karen Brady, and then having a root and branch overhaul of the club from top to bottom. The owners would need to step back and just be owners and financiers, bring in people that know how to run a football club. And I'm sure Karen Brady knows how to run a football club, but she runs it on a business point of view, not from a fan point of view. And as I said last week, I support West Ham Football Club, not West Ham Business Club. And this is the problem with Karen Brady. We are just customers. The constant emails and everything that come through to us, they just want our money. If we can get rid of Karen Brady, bring in a CEO that oversees the club, the owners take a full step back, and then run the club. Realistically, a football club should be run that the managers should be able to come in and leave the club, and when the next manager comes in, everything's there for them to pick up the same way. The problem with West Ham under the ownership of Golden Sullivan is we've gone from one manager who plays one type of football to another manager who plays a different type of football. The scouting was handed over to Pellegrini and his family, so when they go, we lost all our chief scouts and everything. That should never be allowed to happen, and you would put in place a proper scouting network. But thanks for your comment video, boy. If you feel like leaving your real name, please do. Because it's always good to call people by their proper names rather than just, a name you can hide behind. But thanks for your comment anyway. And I look forward to hearing you in the future as we go along. The next bit I want to cover today really is about the VAR decision in the game. Now, I've always preferred the human element, and I like to, in a way, accept that referees are human and will make mistakes, the same as linesmen will. Every time a VAR decision where I complain about it, saying to people, look, you've opened Pandora's box, this is what you're going to get. People always throw up the James Milner offside decision a few years ago at the London Stadium. Liverpool scored a goal. As the initial pass was made before, I think it was Milner then broke and crossed. Milner was 2 yards offside. The problem is if you look, the linesman's positioning is totally wrong. He should be level with the last player, or with the ball, I believe, not 5 yards in front of the ball and 2 yards in front of the last player. So therefore the referee was let down by the linesman there. I suppose a little bit of technology could help, and I'm all in favour of the goal line technology because football's all about scoring goals, and if the ball crosses the line, there's the goal. It's the definitive decision. Now, if we look at yesterday's decision, West Ham fans very upset. In fact, it seems the whole of football is very upset over the decision yesterday. Souček, we're waiting for a free kick to come in. He's grabbed by Mitrovic, shrugs him off, does it with the elbow up, makes minimal contact with Mitrovic, who then throws himself to the floor, feigning. It was almost as if he'd been smashed in the face by Tyson Fury rather than just added an elbow. And in fact, if you look at the contact, well, actually, I'll cover the contact in a minute. So then the VAR assistant, Stockley Park, whispers in the ear, Mike Dean, do you want to go and have a look at it? And this is where I would expect Mike Dean to go, do you know what? Actually, there's not a lot in that. It's minimal contact. You can see he's made a meal of it. He's rolling around on the floor, but then he gets up with no attention from physios or doctors or anything. But not only that is, you can look at his face and see if he'd been elbowed as hard as he as he was rolling around in agony, it would have left a mark. There was not a mark on his face at all. So Mike then goes and looks at it. He could have easily walked back and had a look at his face and gone, nah, nothing in it. At worst, perhaps booked him. But no, he went straight for the red card as Mike Dean does. It just highlights why VAR for me brings nothing to the game. 23 times he looked at it in slow-mo. Never once did he look at it in real time. So everything looks worse. in slow-mo. Proper tackles look worse in slow-mo, where you can see as they did it, a hair touch and the player goes over, oh, it's a penalty. This is what we're down to. Well, setting up petitions is a total waste of time and it's a joke. And for me, the only way that the authorities are really going to take notice is when fans that are not affected by decisions start coming together and complaining, because it will affect us all at some point. Perhaps it's something Amers United could, as associate or members of the Football Supporters Association, that perhaps it's something they could take, because having our own petition, if you only complain when the decision goes against you, people can easily go, oh, you're only whinging for the sake of it. Where if you complain, if Fulham fans then chimed up, if they complain when the decision's gone in their favour, if West Ham fans complain when a goal is chalked off against us because VAR deemed his armpit to be offside, if we as West Ham fans says, you know what, that Raheem Sterling goal last season, that was a legitimate goal, perhaps there'll be more people taking notice of it. Because if you only complain when the decision goes against you, you're not going to get anywhere. The game itself was, I don't know if it was affected by the weather, but the rain, if you think back to the last West Ham game in the rain like that, Stockport County, we struggled against a non-league team. Whether the rain levelled it up, I'm not so sure. Fulham had a lot of the ball. Fulham are a tough team. They don't concede a lot of goals. They don't get heavy defeats like some of the other lower teams have done down there. And they are fighting, even though I don't think they'll manage to stay up. But they are fighting. And they can play some decent football under Scott Parker. A manager that I wouldn't be too sad to see in the future managing West Ham. Onto our manager now, David Moyes. He's trying to build something, and I think one thing I was pleased to see, that he didn't just go out and bring a striker in for the sake of it. There was a lot of complaints that the owners didn't give him the money. Moyes comes out, said there was money available, but he chose not to bring in a striker for the sake of it. And it basically, that things at West Ham need to be run differently to how they were in the past. And he's totally right. We all acknowledge that. So fair play for Moyes. The one thing I'm hoping is that once we get to the end of the season, and Moyes, we can see we've got a top 10 finish. With any luck, we've progressed in the FA Cup, that the owners may sit down and go to David Moyes, don't just give him a 2-year contract. We want you here. He's only 58. We want you here for the long term. And throw at him a 3, 4, 5-year contract. I wouldn't be against a 5-year contract with Moyes, and give him the tools to be able to go out and progress this club upwards. This season, it seems we're beating a lot of the teams around us, picking up points all the time, beating teams below us and around us. Can we, we've drawn against Man City, not a bad result, but Man City weren't firing on all cylinders at the time. We've obviously lost to Chelsea, we've lost to Arsenal, we've lost to Man United. But, so we need to start picking up points to progress there. But not just this season. It's got to be carried on next season and the next season after that before it can be, labelled a proper progression. Right, I'm going to wrap it up now for this week. Short and sweet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you same time next week. Cheerio.